Well, good evening and welcome to Scrolling and Making with Russ this Wednesday after. I was trying to say Monday afternoon. It's not Monday, Wednesday afternoon. We're here tonight. I have we decided to do the show like this again because of the fact of what we're going to be talking about. I had a lot of people on the last show ask me about doing pricing your woodworking. Well, it's woodworking and making, period. But and also I got several emails from people asking me about it over not just recently, but I've had several people ask me about it, and I really have tried to steer away from it somewhat. And I'll tell you why when we start the show. For right now, let me introduce my wonderful sponsors, and they are Devobal Technologies for web design, development, and hosting. Visit devobal.com. FastCap, innovative products for the professional woodworker. Go to fastcap.com. Rockler, 60 years in woodworking. Create with confidence. Visit rockler.com. Bearwood Supply Company, your best choice for hard to find woodworking supplies. Go to bearwood.com. Klingspor, the sanding specialist, woodworkingshop.com. Seiko, the scroll saw specialist, seiko.com. And Scrollnado, dust collection for your scroll saw. You can find Scrollnado on Amazon. And don't forget about the show this Saturday. Sorry about the show last Saturday, but this whole past week, well, not only this week, but last week, it's just been raining. And Friday afternoon and Saturday afternoon, we had some really huge thunderstorms come rolling through here and took out the power for a couple hours. So, unfortunately, there's nothing I can do about that. Whenever the power goes out, yes, somebody said, well, you have a generator, fire off the generator. I'm not firing off the dad burn generator to run power to my shop to try to have the show, because I'd have to hook up so many damn things. The router's got to be hooked up. This is got to be done. And I'm sorry, I'm not doing that. So the show is important to me. Don't get me wrong. But, if the power goes out, the internet goes out, that's pretty well it. Over, said, and done. So anyway, let me have my wonderful co-hosts here introduce themselves. Al.
Hi, I'm Al Forte, Odessa Woodworking and Maker Shop. And don't worry, there wasn't, you didn't get, the show was about screws, but anyway, that didn't take place. So we had a chat, and there was a text chat going on, and
Cool.
we were all in the chat in the background. There'll be little snippets of that chat coming out, hopefully.
Okay,
Hopefully.
cool.
But anyway.
I imagine I got a lot of ribbing from like certain people.
Oh, I don't know. I'll let Paul answer that one.
Paul, was you ribbing me?
Well, it was all in jest.
No, not at all. No, nothing.
Oh, because I didn't have the show. What do y'all think I'm supposed to work some miracle?
Well, we thought it was good that Chris Nealon gave you a super chat for not having a show.
Yeah, I saw that. I was like, "You're kidding me, right?" So
yeah, we had a pretty good time. It worked out well.
Yeah, Rita G says Russ has limitations, and let me go back to the beginning of the chat because Aussie Man posted, "Hello Russ, how's the rain over your way?" And it sucks. It has rained every stinking day, and sometimes all day long. Now, I'm not saying a torrential downpour all day long, but we'll get a shower. It'll come through, and it'll quit 30, 45 minutes, 15 minutes. It just varies, and we got more coming in. If you get up on Watch the Florida Radar, today has been the first day it started raining this morning. But after lunch, it was about 2 or 3 o'clock. I was beginning to wonder because we had some really bad thunderstorms come through. But then after 2 or 3 o'clock, I noticed on the radar that it seemed like it was clearing up. So by 3 or 4 o'clock, it pushed its way on across the state. And we're all right. But yeah, Austin Man was wondering about how the rain was. Luana Pierce is out there. Aussie Man.
Jim
Bashir is out there. Cool.
Ken McCrory.
He just went to get a sweater.
Ken McCrory. Kenny Earrings. All things YouTube. Matt Haas is out there.
Hey, Matt.
Gary Lucas.
Oh,
Ken
Gary.
McCrory. I already said Ken McCrory's name. Just trying
Yeah,
to get
Kenny Earrings is my friend from Canada. He lives over in Toronto, Canada.
Cool. Dennis Goodson's out there in the chat. John Schaffner. Brenda G from Brenda G's Designs is out there in the chat. Hit the like and share and stream. Thank you. I appreciate that.
Smash it. Smash it.
Michael Christophers is out there. Hi, Him and I Woodworking. Hello, Him and I Woodworking. How are you doing? Katie Dotson is out there.
Oh, I missed all those people.
Yeah,
I guess because I went AFK.
Kenny Earrings, Katie Dotson, all of them are out there. So, yeah. So, back to what I was saying about I try to avoid this kind of subject sometimes because it's really, really difficult to try to tell some people or get to come up with a way for pricing some of your woodworking. It, especially with what I kind of like doing now. I'm not building furniture. If I was building furniture, that would be different. Like Chad Stanton, he builds furniture. Some people, but Izzy Swan builds furniture. If you're building furniture, it's different in the way you want to price things, or at least I think it is. But when you're making small things like this, for instance, or even turning a small bowl, or any of the things that are behind me, when you're making stuff like that, that's a little bit different in how you would price it. They know how much a piece of furniture a lot of times is worth. And I tell some people some of the best ways that I know to tell you to price things is to go on the internet and look on. Now they've got Facebook, what is it, Facebook ads or Facebook, whatever where people are selling stuff. Go there. What is it? Marketplace. There it is. Marketplace. They've got Facebook Marketplace. You've got Etsy. Now you have to become a member of Etsy in order to look and see what everybody's got, but you don't have to pay anything. You can have a free membership just to see, which requires an email address and a few other things. So it's really not that difficult. But you got Etsy you can go to, Facebook Marketplace. You've got, there's numerous other ones out there that you can go around and kind of get an idea, especially in wood turning, for instance. If you're doing wood turning, there's a lot of stuff bowls and stuff that people turn that put on Etsy that you can see how much they're charging. Then that'll give you an idea what you might be able to charge for your project. So my first big suggestion is to do that very same thing. Mm-hmm. If you don't have any idea on how to price your stuff, and we'll talk about a few other things that you can do to help get an idea about pricing, but it's to go and look what other people are doing, because it might not be the same bowl, but an 8-inch bowl is an 8-inch bowl. You can see what wood they use and everything, and they're charging like $75 for an 8-inch bowl made out of mahogany. Well, you've got a bowl made out of mahogany, a little bit different style or whatever, but that will give you an idea. Okay, $75, Second big important thing that I'm going to tell you, always price higher than what you would kind of think. And the reason being is it's easy to back down from that price if somebody's interested. It's very hard to add to.
Yep.
So, so if you've got something that you're selling at $25 and you're selling like hotcakes, you might want to reconsider that, because if people are snatching them up that quick, that's kind of like a ridiculous low price. That's one of the indications. I'm not saying your work is bad, but one of the indications is that not only you have good work, but it's a real cheap price. So that's the second thing you've got to look at is that I lost my train of thought there for a second, but anyway, so and then there's, like I said, there's other things that you can do to kind of get an idea that we will talk about. So let me go ahead and see if I can screen share. I think I've got it up and ready. Screen share. Locked on me, share. And let me put that down.
Warning, infinity coming up.
Yeah.
Warning.
I always like how that does that, just one after another after another. So that's pretty cool. Thought I had this up, but I didn't. But anyway, so this is kind of an idea how I break things down to get an idea of what you're going to price something at. The first thing you're going to do is look at time plus materials, okay? And that is, you need to sit down and figure out what you want to make. Some people have a flat out day rate of like $500 a day, which I think comes to be, what is that? Do the math. 500 divided by 10 hours is $50 an hour.
Exactly.
Yeah. So some people have a flat out like day rate, or I don't do a day rate. And the reason I don't do a day rate is because, I mean, it don't take me all day to cut some of this stuff. Actually, it only take me like an hour or so to cut it. So I go by the time. It takes me a lot of time, and I do kind of keep track of how long it takes me to cut a project. That's the first thing. And then you got to add the materials. How much did the materials cost? And don't think just because you have a scrap piece of wood in your scrap box and you're making something out of it that, hey, well, that was left over from another project. So charge them by the board foot. That's the best way to do it. It's called board feet. And that's how most people buy their wood, is by the board foot, that are buying some of the most expensive or more expensive stuff like mahogany and, cherry or stuff, babinga or Purple Heart. They go by the board foot. So charge them for it. I don't care if you bought a 12-foot board and you only used half of it in a project because you misfigured it and you didn't need the other 6 foot. You still need to charge them for that other 6 foot, even though you made your money off the first project, because it's actually profit. So time plus materials. So that's another one. And now we're going to talk about a shop fee. Okay. A lot of people forget about shop fee. And what I mean by a shop fee is, let's put this over here to the side. There is a lot of things that you use in your shop that you should actually charge for. Now, if I spell this wrong, I don't want to hear no crap, because I haven't got my glasses on. I'm trying to blow this up so I can see.
Only if you say it incorrectly will we give you.
Yeah.
I really wish that you would buy an extra pair of glasses.
I've got them right here, but it doesn't do any good when that thing was shrunk down so far.
Do you need glasses to find your glasses?
Yeah, I need glasses to find my glasses. I got glasses sitting right here. I'll show you when we get through. But anyway, one thing a lot of people forget about is in their shop is electricity. Every time you make something in your shop, you're using electricity and you're paying for it. So that's one of the things that people forget about to charge in their shop. Another thing is what you use in the shop: screws,
glue.
Yep, glue. Oops.
Here, have to have the refrigerator.
Nails. Even if you're using brad nails, they cost.
Yeah, they do.
Glue nails fit your finish, or so let's say stain. If you're going to stain a project, like a lot of times I'll make a project out of like pine and stain it and shoot some lacquer on it. So the stain
and it's not cheap.
No, it's not cheap.
Especially if you clear coat it and stuff.
Jim Bashir says girly calendars.
Stain finishes, your finish, shop rags. If you're staining, you need I like to put the stain on rather heavily and let it sit for a little bit and then wipe it off with a rag.
Katie says sandpaper.
Sandpaper? There you go. So see, all these things come into what I call my shop fee. And you're saying, okay, I understand that. Well, what is your shop fee? Well, as a general rule, my shop fee is $60. I got to find the percent sign. Here, let me put my glasses on.
It's above the 5.
60% of what your project is what I say is mine. Now, that's not written in stone. That's just kind of a thing that I sit down and figure it out for a while and come up with the 60% thing. So, in other words, for instance, if you here, let me have a project. Let's say it's just $25. Okay. All right. So $25. I'm going to bring up my calculator here. Hang on. I don't want to be making my mistakes and have people criticize me. I don't know.
All things YouTube says I don't sell anything. Any advice for me?
He's wise.
Yeah, I don't sell anything. Yeah. If you don't sell anything, then just sit on your hands. So 25 times 60% is $15. So in other words, that project should be, if it costs you time and materials of $25, should be $50 or $40. I'm sorry. It's $40. So that shop project should be $40. So that's how I do it. I get $15 for shop fee, or 60% of everything I sell. I add 60% onto it for the shop fee. So that's $15. Now, if you think about that, if you sell a lot of projects, that's going to add up over a period of time. But your electricity and stuff adds up over a period of time. Like everybody, somebody said, it's not cheap. No, some of that stuff's not cheap that you buy. Next in line is you're going to have to figure out if you want to add a profit on top of your shop fee. Now, I normally didn't add a profit, but I can tell you right off the bat, most profit for most businesses is at least 30%. And I say at least. It goes up more than that. But if you'll check around most businesses' profit, a lot of them are set at the 30% mark. So you might want to add the 30%. So if you're adding the 30%, so we've got, after we added the 25 and the 15 and came up with 40, now we're going to go with 30% of 40. I mean, you could do this the easier way, just add all the percentages together and do it that way, but I'm just going with it this way. So 40.
About $12.
Huh?
About $12.
About $12. Okay, thank you.
Yep.
About $12. So that's $52. Okay, now you're up to $52 for that project that originally cost you $25 to make with time and materials. And then you got to add shipping. And here's another thing that people don't think about when they're doing shipping. You're not only, all right, you got to think about how you're doing the shipping. Are you paying for this, the packing tape? That needs to be caught. That's how businesses do it. The shipping and handling is not, you notice they put that handling in there, shipping and handling. The handling is for them to package it up.
Yep.
So, you're paying for your packing tape. Are you paying for your bubble wrap and stuff to wrap the project in? See, that's all part of shipping.
You have to drive to the post office?
You got to drive to the post office to mail it. Now, if you use the flat rate box, I kind of like the flat rate box idea because that cuts out you having to buy a box to put it in.
Well, but, they'll come to your house and pick it up for free too.
Yep, and they'll come to your house. So I kind of like the flat rate boxes, but anyway, you need to put a little bit of cost in there for shipping. Let's say that every price I'm going to use the flat rate box, which is like $9 and something. Let's say $10. Round it off to 10. Well, you need to add another 5 on there just for the stuff that you're putting in on top of the flat rate box, the bubble tape, the tape, or the bubble wrap, the tape, and stuff like that you're using for shipping. So you can come up with like a flat rate like that, if you use the flat rate box all the time, is like $10 for the flat rate box and then $5 for all the other stuff. So you can tell people, because the flat rate box is just what it says. If it fits, it ships for that price. Doesn't matter really the weight. So except overseas, that's where it's going to get you. So, so you can say $15, a flat rate of $15 to ship anything, whether it be a large project or a small project, or you can break it down to actually, putting it in a smaller box and, shipping it another way. That's going to have to be left up to you what you decide to shoot for. I personally like the flat rate boxes. They make it so much easier. When my son was in the Marines, I used the flat rate box to send him stuff overseas because it was just so much easier. Well, it didn't matter what I piled in there. I could ship it for that $9 and something, especially since he was in the military. So then, let's just say $15. So now we're up to $15. So that's 67.
Yep.
Okay. So a project that started out with time and materials for $25, time we ship it is going to be $67. Adding in your everything else. Like I said, that didn't even add in profit. That's just something you are going to have to think about. As a small shop, I wouldn't worry about the project or the profit as long as you are making a pretty good amount as far as, you're making like $25 or $35 an hour at least. I wouldn't go under $25 an hour.
Right.
For anything I would. And when I started out, that's all I was making. I charge more than that now. I charge $40. If I'm charging a building or making a project for somebody, I do it for $45 an hour.
45?
45. Yep. But you have to realize that most of the stuff I do can be made in a couple hours easy. I mean, usually I can get it cut in a short period of time. So as a small shop, if you want to start off, then maybe you might want to think about this $25 an hour.
Do you charge for watching the paint dry?
No. No, I just keep track of, how long it takes me, a rough guesstimate. I don't have no stopwatch or anything, but I know if it takes me 30 minutes to cut it out, then I know it's going to take me about 10 or 15 to sand. Then I know it's going to take me another 15 or 20 to stain it. And then I've got to add a few coats every 15 or 20, to stain it. You know what I'm saying? So you just have to kind of keep track of that. But I would definitely I wouldn't work for anything under $25, even as a small shop, an hour to do it.
Gary Lucas out there is saying that Etsy says that the best way is to include shipping in the price. I guess they're talking about shipping, and then advertise shipping is free. But I asked them, how do you account for shipping overseas versus shipping in the States? Because
you would have to. Here, let me put this back down. We can always come back.
And I didn't mean to derail you. I'm sorry. It's
no. That's a good thing. That's something that a very good subject you brought up for this is that. See, I have my glasses.
Because you can come up with a price for a product, but then you've got to get it to the person.
And that's the reason most people won't ship overseas. Or even over to Hawaii. It costs a lot more to ship something to Hawaii than it does.
And I understand, Gary. I totally understand. Yes.
Yeah.
He doesn't ship overseas.
Yeah, I don't. Whenever I sold anything, even on eBay, I don't ship overseas.
Yeah, I think that's the way to do it. Is just specify in your sheet, your thing on Etsy that sorry will not ship overseas or something like that. That way you can do the flat rate box and charge them a flat out fee of like $15 to ship. And like he said, who was it? Gary said that?
It was Gary Lucas.
Yeah, Gary Lucas. Yeah. $15 and then add it into the project and put that up there at the price. And then you can say free shipping.
Yeah. That's definitely the way. Because in that way, the person looks at the amount. Oh yeah, I can spend $40. Sure.
Yeah.
And it'll come free. I do that a lot with Amazon. I'll go to Amazon and see what Amazon wants, and I could probably get it cheaper from somewhere else, maybe.
But not when you pay shipping.
Right. Right.
That's where they got you. They ship so much that people are shipping companies are begging to work with them. But so yeah, you're right. I've seen stuff like, for instance, sell on Amazon for let's say $38, and I go over here and I see it at Walmart online for $32. Okay, and I'm looking at their shipping fee, and their ship fee is $9.95. Okay, 32 and $10, let's say that's $42, but I can buy it for 38 at Amazon and get free shipping. Yeah. So,
I bought a starter that's a heavy starter for a tractor at Walmart, and shipping was free on it. And I went to go buy a tire, and it had to be over $35 or something like that. But if you look at those price break points like that, you can get free shipping even at Walmart.
One thing good about now you're in a Walmart, because there's so many of them, anything you can ship to the store for free.
Yes, and you can also return it.
Yes,
to the store.
That's what's nice about it. With Amazon, that's one of the downfalls. Number one, you can't go to your there is not a local Amazon store to go to. And number two, if you return it, you have to notify them. They have to give you a thing that you print. You have to put it back in the box. You have to put that in there with the box, and you have to ship it back to them.
And
now, they don't charge you to ship it back. That's one thing that's nice, but still, you have to go through that of shipping it back to them. And I got news for you. Amazon will cut you off.
Yes.
If you ship too many things back to them.
Yes, definitely. Exactly.
Yes, they will. They will tell you flat out, we don't want you as a customer anymore. We're not sending any more orders to your house. Yeah, I know of a couple of instances that happened, that people were buying the stuff.
Steve Good says Amazon returns can go to Kohl's.
Yeah, they can now. Yeah.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Amazon returns go to Kohl's?
Yep. They just started doing that where I live. That you can take Amazon returns to Kohl's.
So Amazon owns Kohl's?
No, they have a partnership with them, and Kohl's sells some products for Amazon, and in return, Kohl's will take returns for Amazon, and it doesn't have to be something they sell.
Yeah.
Regarding pricing,
is out there. Steve, would you like to come on with us on the chat? Because I know you have some very good information. I'd like to hear from everybody, to hear from you about pricing your projects. Yeah. So if you would like to come on, either Paul or Al, please.
Sure. I'll
put the link over there to him on his Facebook page. So Steve, check your Facebook page or your Facebook chat, and we'll post that. Yeah. So, those are all things you've got to consider. And we'll let Steve Good on. Well, before he gets on here, we'll start talking about a few things. For instance,
we're going to go talk about him. Oh, never mind.
No, talk about a few things. For instance, like this little vase. Okay. Now, I have probably got, it only took me probably 30 minutes to cut this. And maybe
took you a whole show to put the polymer clay in there.
Yeah. See, that's what I was going to say. So the time I add all the polymer clay and everything, that's an hour for the polymer clay. Time you add it, time you go out and bake it, and time you do all that stuff. So that's an hour and a half. So in the time you sand it and finish it, let's say another 30 minutes, that's 2 hours. That's $50. Now, $50 does not even include the your shop fee. Okay, doesn't include your shop fee, and it doesn't include your shipping and handling. Do you really think that once you get up there, that this vase is going to run up there until the $60, $75 that you're going to be able to get $75 out of this little vase?
See, that's where I have the problems. I think, would I pay $75 for that little vase?
Yeah. See what I'm saying? So that's what I'm talking about. You can't just totally set everything in stone with that fee that I was just talking about, where you have your time and materials, where you have your shop fee, where you have your profit, and then you have your shipping and handling. Because this is a prime example. There's no way a lot of people's going to pay. I'm sure somebody out there might pay $75 for this little vase.
I will start making those little vases and selling them for $75 if anybody wants to buy any.
Yeah, if they start buying these for $75, I'm making a back in a hurt.
Hell, I'll sell them for 74.
Yeah,
Competition, yay!
That's where that time and materials and profit and shop fee and all that kind of stuff kind of gets thrown out the door, because there's no way you can charge that much. Realistically, I could probably get about $25, $30 out of this, realistically. So how you doing, Steve?
Hey, I'm good. How you guys tonight?
Good. So yeah, so as you heard, that's what we're talking about. So, but what's your take on pricing stuff?
I think the way you started out, and I missed the first few minutes, but you have to start out with a plan.
Yep.
And the plan, having the plan is more important than the plan, because if you don't have a plan, you will give stuff away, guarantee it, because you have no clue of what you've spent on that project.
Exactly.
The only difference that I might take in what you said is almost no crafter can make $25 an hour. That's very rare. Usually, most crafters on average are starting out between $11 and $15 an hour, which is slave wages. But unfortunately, that's just what happens, because they don't take their crafts to places where they can get more money. And it's just like that little vase you were showing there. If you sell that vase as a craft, you're going to get, if you're lucky, $35 out of it. If you're real lucky. If you can get past that point to where you're in a gallery and you're selling it as art, then the price becomes whatever they'll pay.
They'll pay for it. Exactly.
Yeah, you have to get over that point of where you have the name recognition, where you actually have people that are looking for your new stuff. And then you can start to make more than that $11 to $15 an hour, as much as $100 an hour, $200 an hour. But you've got to get, it's like what happened to Charles Deering. You know, they tried to take his craft and turn it into art. That's what Bear Woods was doing by marketing his stuff to high-end, boutiques and stuff like that. And so they were able to take a piece that at a craft show, one of his complicated pieces might get $100 if he was lucky. Whereas if you take it into a boutique, you might get $500 to $1,000 for it.
Right.
That was the attempt. I'm not sure how that worked out because I haven't talked to them, but that was the attempt of where they were going to. So who you market to, if you go to a flea market, just get over it.
Right.
It's not going to happen.
$5
Well, here's not only that it's not going to happen, is because that's what you want to go. And there's a difference between a flea market and a craft show.
Yep.
Big difference. Flea market is where a lot of people take. I know that they take their crafts there and sell them too, but a lot of people take junk and overstock stuff that they have bought or from a company. Sometimes these companies will buy a lot of a product because they get such a cheap price, and then they have a pallet left over, so they'll sell that for a cheap price, just dump it and get it out of the way.
Yeah.
So that's where what you're gonna find at flea markets. A craft show is where you're gonna actually find crafts where people have made them. So, and at the flea market, you can pretty well bet that if you've got $25 marked on this, you're going to have people come by and say, well, I'll give you 20 for it.
And at a craft show, even if you're selling crafts, treat every piece that you sell as a one-of-a-kind heirloom quality piece of art.
Right. If
you can't do that, if you can't have that respect for your work, you'll never get big money out of it.
Right.
You need a certificate of authentication. You need a signature. You need a business card. You need all those things to give the impression that you are an artist.
Yep.
And that's when you can begin to up your prices a little bit. And what you have to have is those collectors out there that are looking for your pieces and want to come back.
Luana Pierce says, so it seems the moral of the story is don't make things to sell.
Well, let me tell you the secret about making money with crafts. And this is, I know how bad this sounds, and I apologize for how bad it said, but it's true. To make money with crafts, you want to sell to people who are thinking they're going to make money selling crafts.
Right.
Sell supplies, sell whatever you have to sell, because crafts people, 9 out of 10 will never make back what they put into it if they actually count their time.
Yeah.
That 1 out of 10 can do it, and I know people who do it. I know people who do it full time. But the other 9 that don't do it, it's because they are uneducated in marketing. And crafts require a high degree of marketing, much higher than some products that you can just put out there and sell because it has a utilitarian purpose. When you're selling a craft, you're selling something that has to have a purpose of the heart.
Yes.
And that requires marketing, big time.
You recognize this, don't you?
Oh yeah, yeah.
You recognize? Oh, you haven't seen this.
Well, that's a good example.
Now, this is what I did to your.
No, I saw it. I watched you make it. I'm lurking out here a lot of times when you don't know I'm here.
Okay.
But if you go back to that vase, that's a good example. It was like I sell that vase in a book. That was the free one, but I sell those vases in a pattern book. So I was able to make literally thousands of dollars off of a craft by selling the pattern, as opposed to if I were trying to sell that vase, I could only sell so many of them.
Yeah, that's true, Steve. I'm totally impressed with selling the pattern instead of the product.
I know a guy that gives patterns away every day.
Yeah.
6:35 in the morning, every morning.
Yeah, every morning.
One thing I do like about this little vase is what I did was different was adding that polymer clay.
Yeah.
That really made a big difference. So.
And that's where you make yourself different in a craft show. If you go to a craft show and there's 4 people selling the same things you are, just go home.
Yeah.
You've got to be
I
unique.
quit doing craft shows a long time and flea markets a long time ago. All right, for some strange reason here, especially in Central Florida, it might be different in other parts. I heard the Panhandle was pretty good. They're around Panama City and stuff like that for crafts. But for some strange reason around here, people don't buy crafts the way that you would think that they would buy the crafts. And sometimes I would clear my booth fee for the weekend. And I would sell stuff. It's just people, they're not wanting to pay $25 for this vase. They're wanting to pay you $5 for this vase.
Well, and that vase is not a great item for a craft show anyway.
No, but
the items that sell well, Christmas ornaments, something that you can stack cut 5 or 6 of at a time.
Yep.
You can get $8 out of one of them, but you made 5 of them in 20 minutes.
Yep.
And that's what you want to try to sell. And then you take your bigger pieces to draw people into the booth. And then what I call a guilt item, which is a Christmas ornament, they've sat there and they've talked to you. They've looked at your bigger piece. Yes. They want to buy something from you, so they buy this $8 Christmas ornament.
Yes. Yep. And Luana Pierce, she's just pretty good. She says the gold rush, the people who made the money were the people that sold the picks and shovels and pans.
Amen.
Amen. Yeah, you're right. That's exactly right. But I mean, and there's a lot of places up north that I know that have craft shows, and those people sell stuff left and right. It's just for some reason, I don't know why, it just never has taken off here. I think because we're such a tourist state, nobody really was worried about going to the beach and stuff, and Disney World and Universal rather than, going to craft shows.
You need a hook too. I'll tell you a quick story about a guy who made a lot of money selling one individual craft. His church was going to build a new church, so they were demoing the old church. All the pews in the church were going to be scrapped. He went in and bought 2 of these pews, which is, as you can imagine, is quite a bit of wood. He made little 3-inch or 4-inch crosses out of the wood off of these pews. Everybody in the congregation wanted 10 of them. Yeah. I mean, he couldn't make them fast enough. And I know that's kind of a one-off kind of thing, but you need a hook like that. If you live in an area where horse racing is big, do crafts related to horse racing. If you live in an area where they have an apple festival every year, make your crafts around that and try to find a hook and then get yourself in like that. And don't sell too many varied things. You need to specialize as much as you can. If you don't specialize, if you have a booth where you've got, like a lot of scroll sawers like to make a lot of different things. If you take 20 or 30 different products to a craft show, you'll do bad. If you take 4 or 5, you got a lot better chance of doing good, especially if you can specialize.
I had a guy tell me too one time that like that vase is a good example. I mean, that's a beautiful little vase. You might make 50 of them, but only put 2 out on your table, and people think, well, there's not anybody else going to get one of those, so I'm going to get one. And,
Yep.
you know, it's
another thing, the most I sell of all things I sell is religious items.
Yeah.
This is just now, I made this first out of a piece of, this is nothing but just a piece of pine. I stained it with golden oak stain. Minwax golden oak stain is one of my favorite colors on pine. I just love the way it looks, and shot this with a lacquer. And I've sold tons of these as far as that concerned, but always breaks down back to religious. Steve's got something there.
This vase right here is a little bit of a special situation where you might be able to take a vase and make a little money. I can make this vase as quickly as I can make that small one.
Yes.
All the time is just in the sanding. You
Yep.
know, and it might take a few minutes extra to sand it or whatever. But something like this, where you've got a unique, like in this case, it's got a dragon cut out on it. And if you get it in the right location and the right person that comes along, you might be able to sell this for $100. And I would make a profit on this at $100. It wouldn't be a lot. It would be in that $15 an hour range, you know, which is not good money, but you know, at least you could make a profit off of it.
now, can you stack cut that front, Steve?
You can, yeah. The front and the back are both 1/4 inch thick.
Oh, okay.
So you could easily make 4 of these at a time. But again, the time in this, like this piece right here, the scroll work, there's probably only 20 interior cuts. I can cut that in 20 minutes.
Yeah.
You know, so that's not that big a deal. Now, if I stack cut 4 of them, it'd take me a little longer. So if you take a pattern like that small vase that you're going to have a hard time selling for $35, you get it into a boutique, you might get $50 out of it. Whereas this one, because it's bigger in scale and it's got a unique design on it, then you've got a little bit better chance. But you're still not going to sell this in a flea market unless some dragon freak comes along. You know.
Now, did you see when I did one of my shows, the guy that sent the picture of that vase, that pattern and that vase that you made, and he put polymer clay in the dragon?
Yeah.
Yeah,
anything you can add, of course, adding the polymer clay, the only problem with that is now you've added more time.
Yeah.
You know, it's not a lot of time, but you have to count it.
Yeah.
In
Go ahead.
a craft show, you've got to count pennies.
Yeah.
I mean, pennies matter. So, and most people that go to the craft show, the goal is to get your booth fee back. You know, if you spend $125, you've got to make $125 plus gas money before you're making any money. And the little items will usually hopefully make your booth fee if you had to pay a booth fee. And then you just hope to sell 1 or 2 of the larger things.
Jim Bashir says, or you could find a Chinese restaurant owner that wants the vase.
There you go.
But yeah, like I said, they spent the time and did a lot of, when they put that polymer clay into that dragon, they really carefully colored that thing up, and it was they sent me a picture. I showed it off one night on one of the shows, and I really thought it was beautiful.
I'll tell you another market, the crafters that are actually the scroll sawers that are scrolling full-time 8 hours a day, they don't make anything for craft shows. What they do is they go out and they find a vendor. Like, I'll just give you one example of one of my readers. They've got a vendor who sells potpourri bowls, and the bowls are made out of, I don't know how they do it, but they're made out of clay, whatever, right? Turned clay or whatever. What do you call that? Yeah. And all he does is he makes the circular top with a design in it, and he sets and makes those all day long, and then just ships those to the manufacturer of these little potpourri.
And they add that on top of their bowl.
Yeah, and that's all he does. So he literally sets and cuts 8 hours a day, the same project over and over.
I couldn't do that.
I couldn't do it.
Yeah, I couldn't do that.
But that's what he does full time. That's what his retirement job is, cutting those pieces.
Yeah, I can understand that he making the money and everything, but I just would get so bored after a while.
Well, and you injure yourself 8 hours a day, you will hurt yourself.
Yeah.
Repetitive.
But yeah.
Repetitive stress symptom. Anyway.
But yeah, that's back to what I was saying. And another thing that you will make more money out of your work and on your work is when you frame it. Especially if you're doing like portraits like this or like the Indian. These, if you will frame it, you'll make a lot more money off of these that are framed than you will sell them just as regular projects. So that's another thing you want to consider. And even so far as framing them, a lot of people don't do this, but I've heard a lot of people say stuff about this thing. I've had this around for years. I did, but framing them with a frame with glass or plastic or Lexan or whatever plastic. They make a non-glare Lexan that is really, really great for picture frames and stuff, and then you don't have to worry about it and breaking the plastic. Actually, that's what this is. This is plastic. This is not glass. So,
and the color adds 20% to the value of the piece.
Yes. Yep. This was a
Did you make
the butt project, huh?
Did you make the frame also, or did you go buy a store-bought frame and put it in there?
This is a store-bought frame.
Yeah, because I mean that's another way.
Yeah, you can buy store-bought, and if you go to the dollar store,
Mhm.
you can get cheap frames. Let me tell you,
Yep.
real cheap frames. I mean, like $1 a piece. No, not this big, but still, you can get them a lot cheaper anywhere else. No, this was actually a store-bought frame, but this project was a pain. There's some really, really fine cuts in this thing that I had. It took a little extra time to cut it, like down there at that bottom. Took a little bit extra time to cut.
Just realize that if you're going to frame your piece, as you're selling it at thrift shops and craft shows and stuff like that, you can get away with a cheap frame. If you want to make that step from being a craftsperson to an artist, then you've got to go high quality.
Yeah, high quality frames. Yep.
Yeah.
But now you can still go high quality and make it yourself, because most of the places like the hobby shops and stuff sell the stuff to make really nice moldings and stuff that are really. I was in Hobby Lobby and I was looking at that. Actually, you can take stuff in there and they'll frame it for you, but they charge a fee. But I was looking at some of that stuff and I was going like, wow, that's really reasonably priced. And like you said, if you really want to spruce something up, that might be a way to go also. So other than that, bowls and stuff that I turn and make. This is a scroll saw bowl. This is not a turn bowl. And this is made out of nothing but just pine.
This one's for Jimbo. He's giving us a bunch of thumbs up and live long and prosper just for me.
Here's a few thumbs up for you and one for Al. Okay, thank you, Jimbo. But yeah,
mine's the salute.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I mean, like I said, I think we pretty well covered it. Yeah, but tourists, Aussie Man says tourists buy the Aboriginal stuff. Go figure. Yeah, Aborigines. I would say that they would buy that over there.
And Steve's USB died again.
His USB died again?
Yeah. He just typed it in there, so.
Yeah. And he's going to have to get that thing fixed.
As much money as he makes giving away patterns, he should be able to have $1 or $2, right?
I know. It's like,
hey,
you're the geek computer guy too. What's wrong with this?
You can donate to Steve. He's got a donate link on
he does.
On the page. In fact, that one right there. If you guys appreciate his stuff and who doesn't appreciate it, I know I do constantly.
Yep.
And he also sells CDs with his patterns on them and all kinds.
Yes, he gives away tons of patterns, but he's got some CDs that he will sell that have all of his patterns on, and then he's got specific pattern CDs that have like the vases and other stuff like that. And he has all that stuff for sale. But 90%.
Watch what you say.
What?
You can talk about me. I don't care.
But also, but
we were saying good things about you.
Yeah,
Steve,
80 some odd percent of what Steve does is actually for free. So once again, if you want to go over there and give him a donation for all the free patterns, and if you'll sign up for his emails, which is it's his blog emails every day. He'll send you the free pattern to your doornail, won't you, Steve?
I will.
Steve gets up early in the morning to send all those emails. He just cranks them right out.
23,000 of them.
Is that how many you send out every day?
It's a little over 500,000 a month.
Wow.
Wow.
Ossiman calls Steve, or he says, that's why I call him Steve is good.
If you have any questions, we're rocking down for about 15 minutes till we close out of here. Now's the time.
Salute to Michelle Marcoux also.
Buster Stott, yep, he's out there. Michelle Marcoux, he's out there.
James Parker's out
James
there.
Parker's out there.
J.D. Dotson's out there.
Ron Norris.
I love it. Steve is the godfather
Father of Scroll.
Oh. Ooh.
The Godfather. Yeah, if you have questions now,
Steve's a tough mother. Watch your mouth.
Portal Woodworks, Dennis Goodson says, I look for his blog every morning at 6 a.m.
See, I can't tell if that's hello all or hello Al. It's all, I guess. It looks like Al with an exclamation mark at the end.
I don't have to have my glasses to see that. It's hello all.
Well,
I'll tell you, Steve, when you're going to go a couple days without putting out a newsletter, I sure appreciate it when you say there's not going to be a newsletter for a couple days, because I always think either something's happened to you or something.
Kenny Earrings is asking a question. How would you apply currency exchange values to your pricing?
Don't ship overseas.
Yeah.
Overseas is one way, right?
Well, he's in Canada.
Yeah.
Just
I mean,
shipping, having to fill out the extra paperwork. Like when I ship my coins, try to ship them to Canada or Australia or someplace, it costs probably 4 times to ship it in cost, and I have to fill out 2 extra forms. It's a lot, and you can't get tracking. It's hard. You can do it, but it's hard.
yeah. That's the reason I pretty well got to well, I don't ship overseas anymore. I just pretty well, and I even try when I do my giveaways to not even tell people I'm sorry. I know you're watching me. I got people from Ireland. I've got people from all over Europe that watch the show that have emailed me, Australia, New Zealand, and it's really hard to tell these people, I'm sorry, but I'm not shipping over there, because you feel bad about it, because they are watching you and contributing. But I mean, it's just a very good one is Jamie Page. Jamie Page got sent a T-shirt. Somebody sent him a T-shirt, and a T-shirt that probably ran about $15. Let's say $20. Ended up costing like 50 or 60 time he had to pay all the fees and everything to get it into the country and everything. So, and it was sent to him for free, and he still had to pay all that stuff because it was written down how much the thing cost or whatever. So,
Aussie Man says he will always pay the shipping.
yeah, he always says, I'll pay the shipping if you'll ship it to me. So I appreciate that. I really do. But it's really hard for me to, be giving away something, and then, then you're saying, well, I'll pay for the shipping, Awesome Man, so far not saying how I can even ship to the continental USA. Yeah. I love, and that's another thing too, is I like using the post office. I have the guy that delivers our mail here is very, very good, a very nice guy. The ladies in the post office that work there, when I go there, I've shipped so much in and out of there that they know me. And ask me, hey, Russ, how you doing today and everything. And they're just really nice people. They're so very helpful. And, so I just can't say enough about I like using the post office.
If you ship a lot like I do, the post office got sick of seeing me come in, because I'd bring in 20 or 30 packages a day. And it's like, oh, God, here he comes again,
Yep.
Well, they turned me on to using Indicia.com or Stamps.com. They're the same thing now.
Yeah.
And I can print all the labels and it's all ready to go before all I have to do is drop them in the box.
Don't you use Click and Ship?
Do what?
Don't you use Click and Ship online at the post office?
No.
If you ship priority mail, you can use Click and Ship on the post office website, and then you can schedule it and they'll come right to your house and pick it up.
It's almost exactly the same as Stamps.com. The difference is I get a better rate at Stamps.com.
Oh, do you?
I save about $100 a month.
Wow.
They're cheap for whatever. I don't know how they do it.
The question I have for you real quick is, what kind of a scale do you use to weigh your stuff?
I've just got a little digital scale over there, but keep in mind, I only send out 2 packages. I only sell 2 products.
Right.
So I know what they weigh. I only had to weigh them once.
Yeah.
There's what I weigh my stuff with right there.
Yeah.
I got that on Amazon for probably $20-25, and it's accurate. It's really
I was going to say, that's another thing, if you're going to get into this where you're shipping, that you need to look into, like Steve said, as far as going some service, but also you need a scale at your home to be able to weigh your products. Unless you're using the post office and using the the flat rate box.
Yep.
Yeah. I love the flat rate box. I'm like,
Yeah, you can stuff anything in that flat rate box.
Yeah. We used to that thing used to weigh a ton when my son was overseas. I used to pack so much stuff in there for him. It was funny. He would get it. I sent him a package every single week, and I sent him a letter every single day for 4 years.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah. He got a letter from me every 365 days a year for 4 solid years. But he had a box when he got out. When I went and picked him up, he had a box full of letters that I had sent to him for 4 years. So, yep. Has anyone ever donated their items to a church for bingo or fairs to get a tax deduction?
Tax deductions ain't what they used to be.
Yeah, I was going to say, unless you donate a pretty large amount of money, and we're not talking about $50, it's almost ineligible as to what you'll get on your tax return. Yeah, you would have to donate I would just say in the thousands before you just see a really big dent in your tax return.
That's another thing you can do with your crafts that it has a value above money. And that is all these people out here that are making crafts that are just wanting to have a good time. Donate your stuff to raffles at the church or at the local boys club or the YMCA. They're all the time having raffles and stuff. And the value you get out of that is more than money.
Exactly, because your people are seeing that stuff and, potential clients right there.
Not only that, but if you buy some of Steve's little medallions and put them on the bottom of your project, it's free advertising.
Yes. Yes.
Thank you, Paul.
Yeah. So that's another thing too. I had a lady that I have been donating to. I met her like 5 or 6 years ago, and she's brought me quite a bit of business. And her husband was a lineman for the electric company, and he was killed about 5 or 6 years ago. And she does these things, Lineman Appreciation Day, where she takes in donations, and they have awards and banquets, and they free dinners for the linemen and their family, their wife. And she's doing that. And she's seen some of my work and wanted to know, can you make anything lineman related? I said, yeah, that wouldn't be that hard to do. So I make some stuff every year and donate to her for that. Then she, I don't remember I think she auctions them. No, she don't auction them off because she's giving them away to the linemen. She has an auction there too, but I'm not sure how that works. But anyway, I donate stuff to her for the linemen every year. So.
For some reason, I Am the Lineman of the County song.
Yeah. There's a bunch of lineman sayings, and I can't think of them right now to save my life.
I am the lineman of the county.
Yeah. You brand it.
I hope you guys are laughing with me and not at me.
I know that song you're singing is sung by Glenn Campbell.
Yep.
I am a lineman for the county.
And we're telling how old we are.
Yeah. If you brand it,
Like
with
they can't tell, right, Steve?
Do what?
Like they can't tell, right?
Yeah.
All the gray.
Yeah, they said never trust a lineman with no eyebrows. Never trust a skinny cook.
Yep.
Oh, Luana, thank you, not laughing at me.
Luana or Aussie Man says I have a branding iron with my name on it. Put it on stuff. Yep.
Yeah. That's something I haven't ever done is branded anything that I've done.
I have a few things, but most of my stuff I don't, because most of the people that I sell to, I've been selling to for years, and I get new customers through word of mouth, and that's all I deal with.
The LCD Dungeons and Dragons table that I made here a while back, my friend actually put a label on it. He put a little tag on it, and he calls the table now the Al Fort table. So I have a table now with branding, designed by Dave Carson, which is my friend and myself.
Al Fort table.
The Al Fort table.
Tom Spillane has joined us. Katie Dotson is. She's got a dog rescue place that she's told me about that she wants me to. I'm like I said the other day, I've got so much crap around here. I got to start trying to sell some of the stuff that I've made, because I've just literally got boxes of it, and it's starting to pile up to the point I got to get rid of it. So I'm going to try to sell some of it. I'm thinking about putting a thing up on my website to sell it. Some of the stuff that I really like and think could sell, and some of the other stuff I'll donate to places like Katie was talking about, that animal rescue.
Russ, I've got a closet in the other room that has over 600 pieces in it.
Yeah.
Wow.
I mean, when you make stuff like this, and then you make this, and then you make this, it's after a while, I've got the crap in my house all over the place. It's like, I'm running out of room to put the stuff, and I'm not going to go get no damn storage unit to put it in, because I'll give it away before I'll do that.
Yeah.
Because it's not worth it. When I was in the construction real heavy, I sit down and figure it up, and it was cheaper just to throw, and that's the reason a lot of big companies do this, or construction companies do this also. It's cheaper to throw away the stuff, like the scraps and stuff that you can't take back, than it is to try to stockpile them and use them later on. Because most of the time, first off, you'll forget that you have that because the pile gets so big, so you won't even go there. You go buy it new anyway. And then number two, unless you own your own property, like your own business with your own property, after you've paid a couple of months rent on storing that stuff, you've lost anything that you could have ever done. So it's just better off burning it or throwing it in the dumpster and hauling it off to the trash and buying new.
It's like the military when they left Vietnam, they just started shoving airplanes overboard.
Yep.
They didn't bring anything back.
Yep. I mean, there's even if you try to store it, like the airplanes, for instance, if they're not run and maintained and kept up for very long, they're go bad. They're useless.
Yep. They burn them, blow them up, shove them in the ocean.
I think they did a lot of that stuff with Desert Storm too.
They did.
Yeah. They didn't bring it back because it cost more fuel to bring it back just to get rid of it. Take the electronics out of it, so the technology out of it, and burn it or blow it up.
And then if you're as smart as we are, you just sell them all to the enemy.
Yeah. Boxer Butts and Other Mutts. They have a site and a Facebook page. Awesome Rescue. That's it. As soon as I read that the first time, Boxer Butts and Other Mutts, I was like, okay.
I know a guy that did scroll work for a living, retirement living, and all he made were dog projects. And the only place he sold to is he traveled around to all the kennel shows where they would have, I don't know, a dog. I guess you call it a dog show where they compete.
Okay, yeah,
And, that's all he did. He went to these little kennel shows around. It was mostly on the eastern half of the United States. He traveled, I guess, 3 or 4 months out of the year doing that, and he did pretty good for a while. He ended up retiring a second time and gave up. But
So I didn't see any questions out there. So I guess y'all all know everything there is to know. That's good.
Marketing.
Yeah, Mark. I think marketing Matt Haas says marketing will make you feel good. Yes, and like Steve said earlier, yeah, that's one of the main things. Finding a niche, and then you're getting it out there and getting marketing in there is.
Or by storage boxes.
Huh?
Or by storage boxes.
Yeah, or by storage boxes. I for a while, and I don't remember why I quit doing it now. I guess I'm trying to remember why that we kind of like broke up. But anyway, I had a flower store that was local that I used to make stuff like little baskets and stuff for work, and they would put the flowers in them and sell them. And I guess it was me bugging the shit out of them to buy my stuff more than them wanting my stuff, because after I quit marketing to them, they haven't really contacted me back. So
you met Hans up in Atlanta, right, Russ?
Yes.
He's a good example of what marketing can do. He's like a carnival barker when he's in his booth selling stuff, and he's annoying as heck, but he's really good at being annoying, and everybody likes him. And it takes that kind of marketing in person when you're doing a craft show where you're actually meeting your customers in person. It takes a special talent to be really good at it, to know when to talk to a customer and when to leave them alone, and how to present yourself to where you're approachable. Those things are all things that you have to learn.
Yeah. Matt says product naming is important too. Just put for rich people at the end. Most people will jump all over it.
Yeah. That's why you don't undercharge for your piece, because it kills the value of the piece. That software industry was a good example of that. In the early days, back in the early 80s, mid 80s, there was a software company who was selling games, and they were selling them in little baggies for $9.95 per floppy disk, right? Yep. They were about to go out of business. They raised their price to $29.95, and they ended up being one of the biggest software manufacturers of games in the world.
Was that Apogee?
It's either Apogee or
I'm trying to.
It's one of those two. It's Apogee. There was another earlier one I can't remember.
Because I used to sell, not sell, because you can't sell shareware and stuff, but market the shareware at that one point in time.
It could have been Apogee. That there were only about a half a dozen popular brands back then.
Yeah,
in the early 80s, there weren't that many.
James Parker, he said that he asked the question that I covered in the first part of the show about shop time and profit and all that other kind of stuff. Yeah, James, just watch the show after it gets posted, because I talked about all that in the very beginning. So
there's a lot of things that when you get big that you have to add into, like your cost of insurance.
Yep.
Right? Your air conditioning, you've got, once you get to the point where you're talking about making thousands of dollars a year as opposed to hundreds of dollars a year, then you really have to get into the pennies of what it's actually costing you.
And I think that's where that shop fee comes in, because that's your overhead. I mean, you have to make at least that to keep your doors open. You may as well not be doing it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, and the shop, and a lot of people forget about that shop fee, as far as, they forget about they're using stain or nails or screws. I don't care if you buy a box of 50 screws and you only use one per project, you still need to charge for the screw. I mean, so it's like, and one thing I want to bring up too, which Luana Pierce said this out there in the chat, and I was going to bring it up, but since she's already brought it up, I'll mention it. And that is Jim Bashir's. He's out there in the chat. He's a loyal friend, a loyal follower, and let me tell you how loyal he is he has had neck surgery in the last day or two. and even had to go back and have a CT scan today because he's having some problems. He had to have like one of his vertebrae in his neck fused together because of the disc, or because of a disc problem. So, I mean, that shows you how loyal and how great of a guy he is to still be out there in the chat right now tonight after 2 days of having neck surgery, serious neck surgery. I mean, so.
Did anybody mention doing the thumbs up yet?
Yeah.
Shit.
Yeah, they did. They did. I only got 18 thumbs up, and there's 36 people watching right now. So somebody needs to get off their butt and hit that thumbs up.
That's marketing right there.
Yeah,
Right.
get off your butt and hit that thumbs up. But yes, that's loyal. And he made my granddaughter, if y'all seen it on Facebook. Matter of fact, Jim, I want to see if did this pattern come from Thingiverse for the octopus?
Yeah, that was on Thingiverse.
Okay, because I need to download it and I need to ask Jim a couple of questions. He's got this thing down pat. But anyway, he made one of these. Yep, he made one of these for my granddaughter, and he made it pink, and she got it today. And I posted a picture of her holding it and told him thank you. And it started a riot.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, because her little brother went like, I want one of him.
Well, either Jim can print some more up, Russ, or you can fire up your printer, buddy. And
That's what I said. I gotta get some of these printing on my own, but because he was like, he had a fit, and then my other grandson Roy, Audra's the girl, my granddaughter that he made the octopus for, and Levi is her brother, and he wanted one. My other grandson Roy came over before Audra got out of here with his stinking octopus, and he had a fit.
Either you can get Jim to make one for you, or Al and I will do it for a price.
Yeah, I'm all 3D printer.
I'm having a sale on them, folks. So if you guys need a little octopus, the gold ones are really cool.
And they're not that much more expensive than the white ones, right, Al?
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I got to download the file, and
I've got some glow in the dark, and this is my favorite, the glow in the dark
ones.
Yeah, I'll turn off the lights in here and I'll walk out. I've got it sitting up there. It sometimes scares me.
Yeah, but yeah, I'll have to download the file and make some for them because they're having a fit. Roy, my grandson, he loves stuff under the water like octopus and fish and stuff like that. Oh, he has a fascination. So when he seen that octopus, the pink one, he like had a fit. I mean, he was like, he almost went into a meltdown stage because he wanted it. So
that would have been a good time to teach him about 3D printing.
Yeah.
Well,
he's too little. They're all little. All right, John Schaffner has a question. When charging for materials, charge what is cost to replace what you used. It doesn't matter what it cost initially. Sometimes it costs nothing. Yes. And that's what I said in the very beginning. Charge what it cost. Period.
See, this is a really good point. Jimbo's asking me, how much, Al, right? And I mean, the time that it takes about 4 hours to print.
But it doesn't take any of your time, hardly.
Correct. Shipping, how much shipping would I charge for this? I like to be fair. I don't,
A flat rate box is, I think, $7.95 for the smallest.
For the small one.
The smallest box.
So there's, let's say $10 right there. So there's $10 right there, and the filament itself is negligible. Can I get $20 for that octopus?
I would think you could get 20 or 25 out of it. Yes.
Okay. I mean, and that's the thing, and that's where I have the problems. How much do I charge?
Yeah, I think you get, because back, I wanted to catch this before I forgot. Jim says everyone has an. I'm sorry, my son.
See, he's actually trying to negotiate with me and barter. He sent me Star Trek books that I need to get. And so I don't know. We can talk later, Jimbo.
Al, you can also go to the dollar store and buy these padded envelopes.
Right.
You get 2 of them for $1. And I would imagine that would ship okay
I
in
wonder,
one
yeah,
of those.
yeah. I could make a little wooden box to ship it into, right?
Yeah.
You know,
You
something
could,
like
you could 3D print a plastic box.
yeah, could do that, or maybe take and scroll saw or cuts. Do you have any boxes, Steve?
That would be so cool, wouldn't it?
Yeah, there you go.
I bet you Steve could come up with a perfect form-fitting box pattern
You know,
for
the
that.
reason I say that is I know this one guy that gets asked to make things like, okay, like for instance, this 20-sided die. He
Yeah.
would have somebody, or he would have a request to make this a ring box for somebody, and I don't know, you know, 50, 60 bucks for something like that to put a $2,000 ring in. It just depends, I guess.
On what
Let
you
me
want.
let me tell you something now about your little octopus. To actually sell that octopus, you would start out with an outlay of over $10,000, easy, because you can't print enough of those on your 3D printer to sell them.
No.
So you're going to have to go to China to get it made, and the startup cost is going to be 10 to 20,000.
Yeah,
Yeah.
certainly. It's,
Yep.
it's the one pieces or the one knockout things. So it's
Anyway, before I got choked up, my sinuses have been like on fire lately.
but you're right.
Huh?
No, he's totally right.
Yeah, my sinus has been on fire lately, and I get into these phases when it starts draining and it just chokes me. So, anyway, I want to go back to what Jim said. He said he wouldn't let small kids have them choking. They're not that small. I mean, they're all up around the 5-year-old mark, but so they're not going to choke on them. But there was something else, and he said something about he's printed everybody else one except himself.
Awesome.
That was pretty funny. What'd you say?
Awesome says he'll pay for the shipping. I'm sorry, I'm going back.
Osmond, I'll pay for the shipping for one. All right. I have some Star Trek books I need to get to you. One is a tribute to Mr. Spock.
Ron Morris, so is what I'm hearing, if you're going to sell your scrolling stuff, don't quit your day job. Either that or wait for retirement.
It took me a while to get set up and to where it started off with friends and stuff, and I was making things, and then slowly but surely over the years, they started showing people, and like a lot of my daughters work at doctors' offices, and they were taking like their pen. I made them a pen, they take their pen to work, and people wanted pens. So it's taken me quite a number of years, about 10 years, to get everything built up. But where now that I pretty well have a pretty normal client basis that comes to me all the time, and then they show stuff off, and it continues to grow. So
There's not very many crafters out there making a full-time living.
No, I don't. I do it strictly for whatever I make. I turn back into the shop and for tools and stuff. That's what a lot of my stuff that I buy. If I want a new scroll saw, or I want this or I want that, it goes into the slush fund for the new tools. So
I was looking.
I'm retired. I don't have to worry about. I have an income. I don't. This is not. If this collapsed tomorrow, it wouldn't kill me. It hurt my feelings because I wouldn't be able to get no more new tools.
I was looking at a table saw today. I need a new table saw. We're talking $500. I mean, the deal that Steve said about if I needed quantity to sell, I would have to do a big investment. I mean, think about it. If you sat there and pieced everything you needed, you could probably spend just $10,000 on shop equipment.
Oh, easy, yeah.
Easy, yeah.
Jim Bashir says, night all. Good night, Jim. We're not going to stay on too much longer. Yes, you're right. Are you serious that you need a new table saw?
Yes, actually, I need a new table saw.
I love the rigid, the big one, the cabinet saw with a.
I don't know that they make that anymore, do they?
I want something with a solid cast iron top.
That's what it has.
I want. Yeah, I don't even have to move it around or anything. I'll even put it.
Well, it's got wheels. It comes with a cast iron top. Now the wings aren't cast iron. They're like sheet metal, but most of your tables, the main portion where the saw's at is cast iron, and their wings aren't solid steel either. So, but anyway, that I would highly recommend.
Did you say grizzly or rigid?
Rigid.
I said rigid.
Rigid.
But I would highly recommend that saw for the amount of money. The only thing you will find out, and I found out that same thing, is that the fence sucks.
Well, see, I want something with a great fence.
Well, then now you're going to have to spend more than $400 or $500.
Yeah. Fence on mine stinks too. In fact, when I went to look at the big box store, I remember what the brand was. That's the first thing I did is I grabbed the fence, and I think it was the DeWalt, and the DeWalt seemed kind of plastic for some reason. Just didn't, nice little knob down here.
I used mine for about the first year, and then I tore it off and put. But it only cost me like $150. But I'm trying to think of the brand name. I'll have to look it up. But I put like a Beesmeyer type fence or whatever on it, and all the difference in the world. Now I love the saw, but I was having problems.
Okay, thank you.
I was having problems with it, but still, the if you only pay the $500 for the saw, and then you only have to put that fence on it, which is only $150. I'll find you the brand name of it that I put on there. But when you're only paying that much to add to it, it's really still cheaper than a Grizzly or whatever. But if you order the Grizzly cabinet saws, those are damn good saws, and they don't have a problems with the fence.
Yeah, Luana, the guide that you use for the distance between the blade and the fence would stop, so you can, okay, I've got a 6-inch piece, I'm gonna move through there. That's what we're talking about, fence. I don't know, you said a fence. I mean, I don't know.
Luana Pierce said a fence. Yes, it's the part that goes on a table saw that guides the wood to the blade, so to speak.
Kenny Earrings loved his rigid.
Yeah.
A lot of people love that rigid.
Katie Dotson wants to know, does Incra make a fence? Yes, Incra makes a fence, but it's a very expensive fence.
And Jeff Robinson, I was looking at the Delta today alongside the DeWalt too, and I like the Delta a lot better.
I have a Jet, which is very similar to the Delta, and I mean, I've had good luck with it. I don't know that it's the best saw around, but I've had good luck with it.
Ron Norris has got a Delta table saw too. Yeah, I'm ready for a sponsorship. If I can get Delta to send me a table saw, man, I will demo the daylights out of it.
I wish I could afford a saw stop.
Oh, that'd be.
I wished I could afford. Let me find. I'm looking right now to see what kind of fence I put on mine. I put the Vega U26 table saw fitting system, 36-inch bar, 26-inch to right, is the one I put, and I'm trying to find the price on it.
And I have looked on Craigslist, John Schaffner. I have, and I found some these industrial, monsters. And seriously, that's what I want. I want a solid hunk. When I was in the printing business back in the late '90s, I bought like from an auction house of some type. It's a 750-pound paper cutter, big guillotine paper cutter that would cut 36-inch. By whatever the length, but 36-inch wide paper, and that to me was the best paper cutter. And I could have bought a paper cutter that was electric and push 2 buttons and down it comes. But that big old cast iron thing was a really nice purchase.
Have you looked at the Grizzly, Al?
I probably have seen it, but
because they make a nice saw too.
Yeah, Grizzly makes really nice table saws.
Tom Spillane said.
Tom Spillane just said right there he loves his Grizzly.
Yeah, Grizzly P690.
The only problem with the Grizzly is you're going to pay an extra $125 for shipping.
Yes.
Once in a while they have a free shipping thing though, but
you have to watch for that.
Yeah. Sometimes they'll have a special with the free shipping, but they'll catch you on that because even though they pay the free shipping, you still have a $125 fee for delivering it because you're not a business. So they have to use like a pallet jack to roll it into your driveway or whatever. So,
gotcha. And there are some places they'll only give you lift gate service. They'll take it to the lift gate and drop it at the end of your driveway.
Exactly.
Hey Al, have you checked Facebook Marketplace? in your?
No, I haven't. No, I haven't.
In my area, they have more good stuff than Craigslist does.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to look because somebody said the table saw was the first tool. Yes, that's true. I was using a skill saw to make dollhouses and couldn't cut straight. Well, I still can't cut straight, but I had to get a table saw. I went down and got a cheap table saw at the big box store, but I've worn it out. I mean, literally, I've worn it out.
Well, like I said, for the price, and then you add that fence to it. I love my rigid table saw. Now, when that one goes out, I'm going to probably end up getting a saw stop more than likely is what I'm going to go for. But for the amount of money my wife bought it for me for a Christmas present, for the amount of money she paid, and then putting that fence on it, it cuts beautifully.
Other than the safety features, are there any benefits that the saw stop has?
Oh, they're super accurate.
Yeah, they're nice.
And they're powerful.
Kenny Earrings did a review on his YouTube channel not too long ago on his saw stop, and I was really impressed with the features of it. It's a nice saw.
Well,
you're not going to wear one out.
They're up in the $2,000-$3,000 range.
Yeah,
yes,
probably.
Those that don't know what a saw stop is, you can actually take. I'm going to say it this way: a hot dog, put it on top of a piece of wood, cut the piece of wood, and when the saw hits the hot dog, it ducks and goes out of the way. And I've seen somebody actually put their finger on it and do the same test.
I just saw a video online yesterday or today about new technology they have where the saw senses your finger or the heat from your body, and the blade goes down, but it doesn't break, and then you can reset it, and it comes and you don't have to replace it.
Yeah, actually, I was reading about that same thing. It actually cinches your finger before it gets to the blade.
Yes, it does. Yes, it does.
Yeah, it can cinch your finger, and I'm like, that's really interesting. So,
Kenny Earrings just put his link out there for his review of the saw stop.
I want to go over there and watch it. Yeah, I was impressed with the saw stop that I've seen. Rockler had a nice one up there in the store, and that's what they had for their saw that you could use when they did classes on stuff. And I used that saw stop there, and I was really impressed with, like you said, the fence is a nice, beefy, heavy duty fence. Yeah. I mean, everything about it is a nice, heavy duty saw. So
keep in mind though that if you go with the 110 volt saw stop, it requires a 30 amp circuit. In most garage workshops, you're going to be in trouble there. If you don't have 220 out in your shop, if you go with that 110 version, make sure you got the breaker free to a 30 amp breaker free.
Yeah.
I'm too old to spend that much money on a saw.
I was thinking the other day about all the things that I'm doing now that might be the last time I ever do them.
I don't buy green bananas.
Yeah. Tom Spillane is saying Fellender has a new saw.
Yeah, that's the one.
Yep, which I think is But yeah, that's right. The saw stop, that crash unit or that brake unit, literally ducks the blade and stops it. Totally craters it.
Yeah. All right, guys, it's time for us to go. We've been on here
hour and a half.
Yeah, I was going to say it's almost 9 o'clock. Wow. So
don't feel a minute over 2 hours.
Yep. So we're going to get off here. I appreciate it, everybody. And we jumped up from 18 to 25 thumbs up. I appreciate that too. Even there's still some slackers out there.
31 watching, I see.
Yeah, 31. We had 36 or 38 a minute ago. So
is your wife watching, Russ?
Is my wife? Sometimes she does and sometimes she doesn't.
Because you got one thumbs down.
Oh.
Well, this is something I didn't know, but Kenny Earrings just put on there that saw stop will replace your brake free of charge if you send the used brake to them.
Oh, really? Now there's added value right there.
Yeah, I didn't know that because I think those brakes are about $60 or $70, aren't
That's
they?
what I thought.
Yeah, the cartridge is somewhere, I would say somewhere between 60 and 100 to replace. Yeah.
Now see, that actually makes that, I think, a good thing then.
Yeah, but you know how much that thing weighs?
Well, Yeah. But
now
then
you're
again,
going to need
how
your
much-
flat. You're going to need your post office flat rate box for
Yeah,
the
right.
$9.91 to put it in there because
But
yeah.
how much is your finger worth? What's,
no. I'm not saying. I'm talking about shipping the blade back to them.
Right.
It costs you to ship it back to them, so that's what I'm saying. Yeah, they'll
Oh,
replace it.
Kenny just said as long as it shows a contact with skin.
Oh,
Does that mean, Kenny, does that mean you have to send them a half a finger with it?
really? Yeah.
What?
Yeah, I'll just cut my finger and put blood on the blade.
He said, Ossiman says, "Will send me a free one if I send a
Of
finger."
a finger. I was gonna say, that was a brave son of a gun to stick his finger in that blade. Regardless, they'd have to give me $1 million. If they gave me $1 million, I'd do it. But other than that, nuh-uh.
Well, Paul and I have stuck our finger in a bandsaw and in a scroll saw, so
Yeah.
saw it next.
Yeah.
Hey, I spent 37 years working on technology, and there are no such thing as a technology that works every time.
Yeah.
I ain't sticking my finger in that blade.
Yeah, I know. I was like,
Hey, and that's why you're working on technology. I mean,
yeah,
go figure if you're a tech.
Yep.
that's true. All right, guys. Well, we're going to get out of here. I appreciate everybody for watching tonight. Thank you so very much. Tom Spillane is still here. Katie Dotson, Rose Woodwork, the Aussie Man, Kitty Earrings, Ken McCrory, all those guys. Dave Hart.
Katie Dotson just said, does it matter whose skin it is? Asking for
Oh boy.
I'm not going to go there. John Schaffner, Jim Bashirs was on. Ron Norris, thank you all so very, very much for watching tonight. There's only one thing we got left to do, and that is when the sun comes a-peeping into where I'm sleeping, it's out to my shop I go, just making piles of sawdust and getting covered from head to toe. Good night, everybody. Thank you for watching.
Good night, everyone.
God bless.
Good night, everyone.
Bye.
Bye. See you.
Good show, Russ.